Boom. All right, what's up, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I just want to talk to you guys about my current thoughts around metaverse cryptocurrencies, Mana and Sand, or good old Decentraland and Sandbox. Is the party over? Things are looking a little bleak at the moment, so I also want to talk to you guys about the worst case scenarios I see playing out for these two, and also downside price targets where I'd personally get very excited about picking up some Mana and Sand for the long term. All right, but before we dive into the charts, talk those downside price targets, do want to read the little excerpt I wrote on Bitcoin in Friday's newsletter, because I sum up my thoughts around the entirety of the crypto markets, specifically the altcoin targets in this little Bitcoin analysis. Okay, so we'll just read through this whole thing. Okay, I'll give you guys my thoughts on Bitcoin. They remain the same. I'll just tell you that right now, even though this was on Friday. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon. Got some football to watch right after this. I'll just give you guys my thoughts, because all of these thoughts still hold very true in terms of the crypto market, because the macro is playing a very important role in not only the crypto markets, but the equity markets, the entire financial markets overall. All right, so past 24 hours price action was on Friday. Once again, validated that $30,000 price target even more. Still believe January 30th to February 1st feels about right for that 30K price target. That video timed out very well. Hey, saw the top, go look at the top comment on that video. The one is like, top comment is, I hope this prediction is as accurate as his Mana Sand $10 prediction. All right, should have brought that up. Should have just brought that up in a separate tab, but go check it out if you haven't yet. That's the top comment right there, and I feel you guys, right? I was bullish too. Don't think that I'm just not fundamentally bullish on Mana and Sand anymore. But this market moves fast, you guys. If you haven't been in this, I mean, I've been in this market for a while, like across the crypto and equity market landscapes for almost a decade now. I think like 8-9 years at this point. And this is the fastest markets have ever moved. They moved fast before, but if you have just gone into the market, if you're a newer face, if you're new blood in these markets, or just since the pandemic started, the reality of the markets to you is a lot different than it is to a lot of people, okay? And this market moves fast. All you guys know that. This market moves extremely fast. And something I've been saying for a long time, I always say this in the newsletter, you adapt or you get slapped, right? Adapt or get slapped. This market moves quick. And one day I could be very bullish on something. One day something could look solid, but boom, Fed steps in, rates are raising, things change. People, when money becomes more valuable to you. In the last video I just recorded before this one, covered the Dixie on the charts, the DXY, the US dollar index, which is gaining strength in the wake of rates raising. When the dollar gains strength, everything that trades against the dollar loses strength, okay? And risk assets are the first to go. When you're talking about risk assets, Bitcoin is technically a risk asset. So when you consider the fact that Decentraland and Sandbox, these are metaverse cryptocurrencies, are like the most risk-on assets you can possibly imagine, right? Cryptocurrencies in the metaverse, right? That's literally as like not tangible and not real as it gets. Now, do I believe these will succeed in the future? 3, 5, 10 years from now? Absolutely. I still think both of these will see at least $10 over the coming years. But again, curveballs are thrown. The Fed stepped in. Don't fight the Fed. Worked on the way up, right? Don't fight the Fed. They're just printing money. They're giving everyone money. Now that money's running out, now the Fed has stopped printing money. Now the Fed is appreciating the value of the US dollar by raising rates, and therefore everything is going to lose. So don't fight the Fed on the way up is equally as applicable on the way down, and that's what we're seeing right now. So unfortunately, risk markets once again are the first to go. Let's keep reading through this. That was pretty much my entire spiel, but you guys, again, adapt or get slapped. The reality of these markets is and this will forever hold true, there's a winner and a loser on both sides of the trade. And don't be a loser, right? You're either first or you're last. That doesn't really apply, but you guys get what I'm saying. But long term, again, you guys keep your head up. That's why I want to talk about the downside price targets, where I'll be excited to pick some up for the long term. I think Mana and Sand are going to be at $10. Why don't I just buy right now? The reason for that is because I'm trying to optimize the amount of Mana and Sand that I can get. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think it's going to go lower. Therefore, I'm going to wait for my downside price targets to get hit and then just deploy all the capital that I have on the sidelines right now, because I liquidated a lot last week. Shout out to the newsletter group. But I mean, you guys, again, that's the game of trading. You want to optimize the amount of profits you get in the end. If I, again, sell Mana last week, buy back at a lower price, I can have double the mana potentially, okay, when it comes to the long term. So that's just how you have to think as a trader. If Bitcoin and Ether will, the entire market will. That is fault. I love these projects. I'm obviously still bullish on the metaverse long term, but the reality is that a large percentage of individuals involved in the markets right now are just too novice to withstand the cold that winter brings. Okay, none of you guys, I shouldn't say none of you, that's jumping to conclusions. I'm gonna assume a lot of you guys have not experienced the crypto winter, unless you were around in 2017, early 2018. And then the few years that followed up until 2020, when Bitcoin's finally started moving again, then you haven't experienced the crypto winter. Right? And I don't think it'll last 3 years again. If we do see a crypto winter, maybe it'll last 1 to 2 years because, again, things move a lot faster in this market environment. But the thing is, now that the macro has shifted, again, don't fight the Fed. I'll just keep repeating that. Don't fight the Fed. Adapter gets slapped. That's the reality. And hopefully you guys have some capital deploy on the other side of all of the carnage once this dust settles, okay? Again, put your coats on. These kids are running out of money. Kids are scared, and I think this correction will be a scary one. Make sure you got some dry powder to deploy once the dust settles. Have a great weekend. Hope you guys did have a great weekend, relaxing a little bit. And I just recorded a video before this that I'm not sure if I'll post this one or that one first, but on why I believe this week in the equity markets will be bloody. Ultimately, the crypto markets are holding a very, very tight correlation with the equity markets at this moment. I believe the correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq is at an all-time high right now. So if the equity markets, this S&P and Nasdaq, do poorly, it's very likely that that downside will bleed into the crypto markets as well. Okay, so as always, you guys just read through this too. This is the newsletter. If you want my daily newsletter that I write every single trading day during market hours, along with my entire portfolio, my personal portfolio. I have to update this every single trading day and then send out one of these bad boys explaining my thoughts, rationalizing my trades, throwing you guys some real-time, again, analyses in here. This was Fridays once again. $15 a month, $40 for every 3 months. I think it's worth your money. I'm biased. I do my best to make it worth your hard-earned money. So first thing down below if you guys want to check that out. If not, though, no worries at all. Let's talk about these downside price targets, okay? So Mana Sand, again, you guys, unfortunately, these bull flags did not really play out. They did play out as descending triangles in the wake of the macro really just messing things up. I'll get rid of this. I don't even know what that line is. But right now we are in a very obvious downtrend along with the rest of the market. Seeing a little bounce right now, which is a little breath of fresh air following just this absolute nosedive. But again, you guys, I still remain bearish in the wake of the macro. And I do think that all three of these, unfortunately, Mana Sand and Render do have more downside. We'll do Render at the end as a little bonus. But Mana Sand, I do think we'll see downside when you see a drop this staggering. You see this again, not only Mana Sand, but within most growth bull cycles, you do see, like, on the way up, you see it again, big move up. It's kind of that two-wave theory, right? The two-wave theory applies on the downside to the blood wave theory. Okay, big move up. Bubble pops, you see some sideways price action a little bit, and it's followed by another big move in the general direction of the overall trend, right? Same works to the downside. You see a big move down, maybe we see a little relief rally now, but it's usually followed by another big move down that is more significant than that first move to the downside. So unfortunately, I do think Mana will come down. Mana and Sand, again, have been getting more punished than a lot of other names. So Mana, I do think it's pretty likely that Mana comes down to at least the highs that it saw back in May of 2021. That would take us to around $1.50, $1.60. But if I'm being completely honest, you guys, I wouldn't be surprised to see. I want to be completely surprised to see if things get really bloody and stay bloody. Mana come down to these highs over here, because if you think about like where Mana rallied, just that Halloween rally where it went absolutely ballistic, crazy price action. On the first day of that rally, we were only around like $1, okay? So unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if Mana comes around to $1, $1.10. Fortunately, though, if it does, I'm going to be absolutely pumped because I'm going to buy bags of Mana and Sand if they come down back to their dollar levels. Excuse me. So again, you guys, in bear markets, you just kind of have to keep your head up, adapt to the times, and do your best to just remind yourself of the fundamentals that made you bullish on these projects in the first place. And yeah. Stack them stacks, stack that Mana, stack that Sand, stack that Render, okay, for the long term. Again, if you still have bullish conviction around these, bullish fundamental conviction, I'm sorry, around the projects themselves. Okay, so Sandbox, I think, has a lot more potential for downside, if I'm being honest. yeah, sandbox. We're gonna see some resistance right here. Actually, I didn't draw that. So, just again, when you're seeing falling knives, you guys, when you're trying to catch areas of support and resistance, when you're seeing such staggering movements, you pretty much just have to look at historical areas that have acted as ceilings and floors in the past. So again, floor right here, ceiling right here. You can see. I mean, this will definitely come into play. So I do think that once again, because this hasn't quite been tested yet, I think sand will come down to at least $2.40 again. But again, I wouldn't be surprised, similar to Mana, if we test kind of this. Sand was around $1.20, so I don't think sand. Maybe Mana goes down to $1.10, $1 to $1.10. Sandbox $1.20, $1.30. But I do think it's very likely. I mean, I'm not gonna say very likely, but just because I'm skewing bearish at the moment right now, you guys. Again, there's a lot of fear in the markets, and that's the unfortunate truth about crypto winners. Once that winner is initiated. You kind of just keep falling, and then you go sideways. Like, I will probably trade sideways in this range from $1.30 to like $2.30 for a pretty long time, okay? And this, again, I don't think it'll be 3 years again, but it could be like a solid year or two before we see that next wave and that next real resurgence of the metaverse, okay? And a lot of this is dependent on the overall space. Hey, maybe the metaverse picks up. Apple releases their glasses, their VR glasses. That would obviously reinvigorate the space from a fundamental perspective, create great optics around it. So that could happen. I'm not going to try to forecast the longer term time, but it's not going to be where it's very, very likely that we are not going to see new all-time highs, at least in Q1 of 2022 anymore. Like I hoped, but again, you guys, I trade on technicals. I'm a trader. I'm very bullish. I thought I made all again, the fundamental arguments long-term still hold true. There's nothing that has changed in those realms, but technicals are how you trade as a swing trader, as a trader in general. And unfortunately, the technicals are trash and the macro is trash. And yeah, we're probably going to see more downside ahead. So sandbox, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like $1.20, $1.30 for sand. That's where I'd personally be pumped about buying sandbox. I didn't even alter render's chart. So yeah, render looks terrible. Was hoping render would bounce, obviously, with everything else. Render was printing a beautiful bull flag, pretty textbook bull flag, and unfortunately did play out as a descending triangle in the wake of the entirety of the crypto market falling. Render is seeing great volume for how little access there is on trading platforms for the most part, which I really like to see. But a render, I'll say this is just because this is the first high of this rally. I do think render will honestly not come down much more. So render right now, you guys, if I'm being completely honest, render remains my single favorite play in the entirety of the crypto market. And I'll just say that. And I think render actually has less downside potential than a lot of the other projects in the space. So render, because a ceiling, this area was a ceiling right here on this initial rip to the upside. This is the first big move up. That was around $1.65, $1.70. I'd be stoked to buy render at $1.70. Okay, so if you guys do want to know exactly when I'm going to be picking up these bad boys, when I'm going to be redeploying that capital that I liquidated last week, check out my complete portfolio. Once again, it means a lot if you guys do. Great way to support the channel as well. And if you haven't yet, give the video a like. Let me know in the comments down below what you're thinking about these forecasts. If you're bummed, it's all right. Go ask for a digital hug. Do my best to give you one. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. Help me get to 50K. Freaking finally. Don't know if we'll ever make it, but hey, we can try. So, again, I'll talk to you guys downstairs in the comments. Keep your heads up and yeah, just enjoy everything that makes life great outside the markets. Okay, that's what you got to do. That's important and required if you want longevity in this sport. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys downstairs in the comments. Till next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.